Hi guys, we're in part 2 of our t-shirt quilt tutorial. I hope you got your t-shirts ready from last time, and I am going to turn this over to my sidekick and camera person and sous chef and master quilter. That is Patricia, because she can explain this much better than I can. So here you go, Patricia.
Hi. So the point we got up to last time was just gathering our t-shirts and gathering our supplies, mainly this really soft tricot. I hope you were able to find this, because I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. So I've started cutting my t-shirts, and some people make a t-shirt quilt on a theme, like everything might be conveniently the same size. If you're a man into motorcycles, all your motorcycle t-shirts might all be the same size, or a school, but mine are going to span a lot of years. I've got little tiny, I've got some Pokemon, and I'm going to explain, and I've got some adult, and I'm going to explain to you how I'm going to maximize my cuts to make the most of them, and then I'm going to piece this in a way that patches uneven blocks together. Now, again, backing up to what I said about the motorcycle quilts, if you do have t-shirts that are basically the same size and you can fit all of your squares neatly into a single size square, that's great, and it'll make a nice it'll make a nice regular quilt that has squares all the same size and in a nice grid. But I'm on an adventure here, and I'm going to make something a little more unpredictable. So anyway, this is a 12.5-inch square, and this is a real convenient size. Some of my squares are actually going to be bigger than this, and you'll see as I cut my t-shirt here. When I lay this down on my pattern here that I want to save, I can look at it and center it, and I can see that if I take a 1/4-inch seam all the way around, it's going to be nicely framed. That's great for this one. When I get to the back, it's a little elongated. If I cut it this size and then took my 1/4-inch seam, it'd be cropping some of my words, which I don't want to do in this case. Sometimes people do. Sometimes people just cut it right up and get the main part of it in there and call it a day. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one longer. So I'm keeping that in mind. I'm going to cut my t-shirt apart, knowing that. But another reason for maximizing our space is because we do cut it larger than our final cut, because it's going to stretch and give as we stabilize it with our stabilizer, and then we'll trim it up to our final size with this nice squaring ruler after it's been pressed. So here goes with see, I'm giving it as much as I'm cutting my t-shirt about. Some people call this deboning, because you're cutting the bones off your t-shirt, the seams. And I'm cutting through the front and back. I'll turn it around in a minute. Get the bones off the bottom. So there's my back cut out, and I'm obviously not going to use all that, but I'm going to leave it there just in case. Let's look at our front now. Oh, this one's got a V-neck. So I'm continuing to debone the front, and this time got a little low. I'm coming right around the sleeve here, giving it as much space as I can, because I want all that. See, there's the little point of my neckline. So I kind of have to go straight across there. Don't actually have to, as I'll show you. So now I've still got plenty of room to put that on there and to have a seam allowance and not get into my thing. Let me just show you on this little Pokemon. I couldn't get away with not cutting. This one had a raglan sleeve, so I had to cut it, and I'm gonna figure that out at the time. I'm probably gonna add some extra fabric to make the corners come out and make that the square, the size that I want it to be. Like I said, I would have, if I had cut it off into a total square, it would have cut off too much of my little guy here. Okay. All right. There's my front. These are called the bones. We don't do much with that, but like I said, some of this down at the bottom I may use for sashing or piecing. Here we go with our tricot. When you feel the tricot, there's a smooth side and a rough side. That rough side is actually glue. And I have a big roll of this, so there's plenty. I won't run out. And again, I'm going to lay it down, and I'm not going to worry too much about my edges because I know that I know for a fact I'm going to trim more than that. But I'm cutting it bigger than I need it. And I'll trim it up to size when I make my decisions about putting all the pieces together. Now, got a nice hot iron here, and I've got it on cotton. T-shirts are cotton, but you would not want to put cotton right on this ink because you might make a mess, both of the pattern and of your iron. So I'm going to use an old pillowcase or something. It's called a press cloth. So see these little bits that stick out? Those are those still have glue on them, so you don't want to ruin your ironing board. You don't want to ruin your iron, but you don't mind ruining the old pillowcase. So I'm putting a layer on the top and a layer. Okay. And this takes a little patience. You get that hot iron and it's gonna fuse that glue. Kind of press. Some of these have come with instructions. I think it's about, maybe 30 seconds per area. Start out with that and see. I'm not counting, but. And this should be enough to protect the ink on your t-shirts. So I just did that top edge. Let's check. Let's see how that's doing. Okay, now see, that's what you were preventing. It's sticking to the press cloth, but we don't care about the press cloth. But it is it's sticking. It's sticking to our t-shirt, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, so now this is probably the part of this quilt making process that takes the most patience. You just have to iron all your pieces and just, you just move this on down. Get them all. Here's my. So, like I said before, this is the portion of this quilt making process that takes the most time. You just patiently put on an audiobook, put on your favorite dance music, boogie, whatever you do, keep yourself from getting bored, and get all these pressed up. I already showed you my Pokemon, and here's another little one that's small, and I'm gonna figure out what to do with that one because I wanna have it in there. But when we get them all pressed out, bigger than we know we want them, then we're gonna come back and trim them up and make design decisions about how we're gonna put them together. Okay, thanks.
Hey guys, we realize that maybe some of you do not have the items that you need to do your t-shirt quilt. Maybe you don't have a rotary cutter, or you don't have some of the templates, the square measuring tools that you may need in order to cut out your t-shirts. So we have them here at the library. We have an iron, we have a sewing machine, we have the ironing board, We just have all kinds of things that you may need in order to make your t-shirt quilt or any other kind of quilt. The only thing is you need to call the library and reserve a time and a room to make sure that the area is available to be used. You cannot check these things out or take them home. Just call and we will find a time when you can come in and use these items. We also have once or twice a month a time called PhDs. That's projects half done. And you need to either check those dates and times on our newsletter or give us a call and find out when they're going to meet. So, hey, anything you need, give us a call. We'll see if we can help you out. Use your public library. That's what we're here for. Thanks.